Good morning. Good morning. It's time to rise and receive. This is your 10-minute morning send off designed to support you in receiving what you most want by unlearning struggle. And today, we're going to talk about loss and how to soothe your loss. If you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author. And I'm really passionate about teaching and supporting people in receiving their fulfillment by unlearning struggle. And one of the things I'm really passionate about teaching is that while some struggle in life is natural, much of it is learned. Much of it is learned. It's just part of being a human being at this time on our planet. It's also part of being a part of our culture here in the United States, which tends to over-rely on what I call a masculine model of power, which is wonderful and necessary and beautiful. And yet when we over-rely on it, because we're actually missing or malnourished in the feminine model of power, we struggle unnecessarily. And so Rise and Receive and everything that I teach about receiving is an opportunity to expand upon whatever sense of power you already have, to open up to this aspect, this wisdom, this resource that points you towards much greater ease and flow and a capacity to simply receive the well-being, the support, the love, the abundance that is always right here, right now. So as I said, today we're going to talk about soothing loss. And in particular, if you are experiencing loss, if you know of anybody who is, I think in this day and age, we don't have to look very far to find somebody who's navigating loss in small ways and in big ways. So my invitation to you as you receive what today's Rise and Receive has to offer is that with me, you hold this as a space where, whether it's your own loss or somebody else's, this is a space where the loss can be honored. This is a space where the loss is received. This is the space where the loss can maybe be named out loud, and it has a place to land. Because as we learn to receive loss and everything that comes with it, that does create a space to receive the kindness of life. But when the loss itself doesn't have a place or a way to land, then the space that needs to be open in order to receive new possibilities stays filled up with all of that. So I hope you'll join me because that's how it is right now in the world. There's a lot going on. I'm personally in Oregon. There's lots of fires, there's lots of smoke, there's evacuations, there's fear, there's people losing homes, people losing everything that they own overnight with fires. So this morning I woke up, and while I've had the card Soothe Your Loss in the Receive card deck that I read from every day, it's been there for a while. This was the morning when I woke up and I got the guidance. Today's the day to read the Receive Soothing, or Soothe, I should say, Soothe Your Loss card. Just as a quick touch base for those of you who don't know me, what we do here is every morning I read one card from my brand new Receive card deck. It has a receiving principle. I unpack it a bit, and then I send you off on your day with a willingness mantra designed to support you in the power of invitation, inviting more or better than you could ever conceive of on your own with your thinking mind or your own personal will to take action. So this is the power of invitation. With that said, I invite you to sit back and just let these words wash over you. You can always come back and re-listen here on Facebook or YouTube. Soothe your loss. There is not a soul who escapes the experience of loss. Every being comes to know it in one way or another. And while it is common to all of life, the experience of loss is a personal and intimate one, as intimate as anything can be. We experience loss in small and enormous ways. The loss of an opportunity to say or do something, the loss of how you thought things would turn out, the loss of a beloved friend or companion, the loss of that singularly special person or creature that held a place in your life like no other, the loss of home or a sense of belonging, the loss of your youth or your innocence, the loss of a feeling, whether it be your sense of peace, certainty, security, vitality, strength, passion, inspiration, or something else. The loss of your dream, the loss of familiarity, routines, and comfort, the loss of the life that you knew, the loss of your identity. Whatever your loss, it must be honored and respected. While all change includes an element of loss, how much we struggle depends on how attached we are to the thing we must release or how important it is to us. Some amount of struggle is natural to loss. This is because whenever life changes form, there is tension and friction between that which is giving way and that which is emerging. We struggle as we try to find peace by making things whole again, by somehow willing things to go back to the way they were, or the way we think they were supposed to be. However, loss, by definition, is about letting go of something you don't want to let go of. And when grief comes, a crack of acceptance begins to reveal itself. This crack can allow light to show us a path towards healing. The tears and acceptance make space to receive the kindness that life always offers. We begin to find our way to soothing loss when we become willing to accept that things will never be the same. When we recognize that something has indeed died. When we become able to name the unnamed death. When we find a place for that loss to have a home in our hearts. Sooner or later, relief begins to visit when we understand that the loss becomes a part of us. It may live as a memory or a scar that may flare up on occasion. And we become more and more able to nurture and soothe the loss as we understand that healing doesn't mean we never feel the loss again. It means that we are willing to find a way to live with the experience as part of the fabric of our lives. And when it hurts, it's a call for more love, not less. So that is the Soothe Your Loss card. And the mantra that I invite you to take on, if it's something that you are navigating right now in your life, or perhaps you can share it with a friend, or simply hold this energy in your heart when you are in the presence of people who are experiencing loss, whether it's your own personal circle or beyond. Here's the mantra. I am willing to receive more love, not less, as I honor my loss. I am willing to receive more love, not less, as I honor my loss. So that's the Soothe Your Loss card. I think there's so much to share about loss, and because this is a 10-minute morning send-off, I'd like to choose kind of one thing to focus on. And I think the most important concept I want to highlight in this, which comes from my own experience with loss, is this idea that you're supposed to get rid of the feeling, get over it. And there's also this thing that happens a lot of times is that there can be a loss that we're experiencing that we don't even know is there. And so what happens is there can be this unconscious drive to fix the feeling of loss, to make it go away. Okay, so we can be we may think that healing is about getting back who we used to be or getting back what we lost. And there's great wisdom out there about navigating death and dying, whether it's death and dying specifically or loss, where it's kind of like little deaths throughout your life, little things that sneak up on you and they kind of are in the back of your mind and they're in the back of your heart, sometimes a melancholy or a heaviness. And part of it is that many of us don't grow up knowing how to relate to loss. And because nobody talked about it or we didn't have a role model or example for it, when it comes, we don't know what to do with it. So we try to fix it. We try to make things go back the way they are or they were. Okay? But as we can name loss and name death and start to open up to understanding how it is a part of life, yes, there is grief. When the heartbreak comes, we cry. That's the only thing to do. And yet when the grief comes and when we can allow that surrender to move through us, many times that is the opening to a relief that we've been longing for and we didn't know how to get to. Because as long as we're trying to change what is, we struggle. And boy, do we struggle. We create unknowingly, we create our own private hell. But when we can soothe our loss by understanding it, by saying yes to it, by accepting it as part of life. And as I teach in the Receive course, we learn to receive the loss. We learn to receive the fact that we're struggling with it. That's a huge part of it, is we think that we're not supposed to struggle with loss. This is a natural part of life. This type of struggle is a natural kind of struggle. So we receive the struggle. We start to learn how to soothe ourselves, soothe our hearts. It's an aspect of self-nurturing. That's all part of receiving it. That's the feminine way. The feminine energy, not gender, not sex, but the feminine energy, what I like to call the divine mother, which is the presence of this unconditional love that is beyond what we may know as humans, but is available to us, receives everything. Just receives the loss, receives everything that comes with it, because many times loss and grief have many layers. We think that there's one layer of loss and then we realize it's another layer and another layer. So the grief can come in waves and we learn to receive it. And as we do, yes, it hurts, it sucks, it's painful, it can be actually brutal. Yet, there's a reason for that saying, that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And so you start to trust in your own strength. You start to trust in life. You start to trust that you will be okay. And there's an amazing power and an amazing fulfillment that can emerge from within you when you know that you have the capacity to relate to loss. That it's not something you have to avoid or run from or resist. You don't have to like it, and we can't control it, but you feel empowered in how you relate to it. So I hope that today's Rise and Receive has given you some insights into how you can relate to loss, whether it's with yourself or in helping others. I know for myself, when I was young and I had my first experiences of death and loss, I was the deer in the headlights. I did not know what to say. I did not know what to do. I just avoided it at all cost. But as life showed me about death and loss, and I started to learn how to be with myself, it allowed me to really hold space for others. So this is such a powerful concept on so many levels. As I said, I hope this is helpful to you. I hope it's useful. Please please share it to anybody that you think can benefit from it. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. This all helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. Here's your willingness mantra for the day. I am willing to receive more love, not less, as I honor my loss. And if you are getting value out of these Rise and Receives, please keep coming back. I love seeing you show up, even though I don't interact a lot, just to keep it short. Thank you for being here. And if you are enjoying the Receive card readings, feel free to go to receivecarddeck.com. The cards will be coming out in the new year and they'll be available for pre-order. So you can just put in your name and email and I'll keep you posted on when things are available. Have a great day. Much love to all of you. And I'll see you at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.